Hey, I'm Trey. The things I've learned as police have proven to me that our lives are seen as cheap by predators. There's a whole plethora of people that would easily kill you and wouldn't lose any sleep, and some of them are serial killers. If you're into real stories about serial killers and how they move, then this channel is for you. So hit that button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. Please leave any comments or suggestions in the comment section because I'm always interested in your opinions. Well, if you're ready, let's get started. 1853, in the country of Italy, Luigi Ricchetto Jr. was born. Luigi's parents, Luigi Ricchetto Sr. and Maddalena Gia, were married and had been left a large inheritance from an undisclosed family member from Luigi's father's side of the family. Luigi's father spent all of his inheritance on alcohol and chasing women. Isn't that typical? After the money was all dried up, Luigi's father found a job working for a wealthy family with a royal bloodline. After working there just a short time, Luigi's father was accused of stealing and was arrested. He was eventually freed and then rearrested for another unrelated theft. During his detainment, it was alleged that Luigi's father was suffering from dementia. He was transferred to a nearby insane asylum. Luigi's mother, Maddalena, was also found to be suffering from hysterical madness, whatever the hell that is, and was also inducted into the insane asylum. Both of Luigi's parents died in the institution, so Luigi's extended family was forced to retain custody of him as a child. In 1863, Luigi Jr. eventually grew up and moved to Turin to finish his schooling. Afterwards, he found a job working for a railroad company, but then he was arrested for robbery. Got to keep it in the family. No information was also provided on the arrest, but he was given a 5-year prison sentence. After he was released, Luigi then borrowed some money from family members and moved to the country of France. When he arrived to France, Luigi found work as a nurse for a wealthy family. The family must have embraced Luigi as one of their own because his patient died shortly after, and the family kept him on the work as a servant. Luigi was eventually caught stealing and was fired from his employers. Luigi found a job as an apprentice shoemaker. What the heck is an apprentice shoemaker? After working some time there, he learned the trade and he opened up his own business as a shoemaker in 1894. January 1900, a landowner, only identified as Novak, was surveying his property. During his tour of the land, he found 2 carefully wrapped packages containing a strange-looking meat. The landowner had no idea where the packages came from or why they were on his property. Not knowing what else to do with the packages, he buried them on his property. 2 days later, a third package, matching the description of the first 2 packages, was found, also containing a strange-looking meat. Now, for the record, I wasn't able to determine if the parcel was found at different locations or at the same location because the records didn't provide that information. The authorities were notified and responded, but were baffled. They were not able to identify the strange meat that was contained in each one of these parcels. The authorities then summoned the local butcher to come out and aid with the identification of the strange meat. Why would they call a butcher out to find out what type of meat this is? Why not call like a doctor or something like that? When the butcher arrived, he identified the meat as veal. Yum yum. They didn't feel the need to investigate any further because they took the butcher's word as gospel. Now, since there was nothing else to do with the parcel, it was buried at the location it was recovered. The very next day, 3 additional packages were found on the same property as the last one that was recovered. The packages were wrapped up the same as the previous packages. The same type of packaging material and rope was also used to tie it all together. When the 3 packages were unwrapped, 2 of them contained more mystery meat, and the third was unwrapped and found to contain a human torso. The authorities were notified and responded. Seeing as though they had a murder investigation on their hands, the police set up a crime scene at that location. In that general area, a new freshly dug hole was found and recovered with dirt. The authorities had the mound of dirt removed that covered 2 additional packages. and they were both wrapped in newspaper dated from April to August of 1897. All the packages were bound together using cloth. When the packages were opened, each contained a human head. When the authorities dug a little deeper, they found the pelvis of a woman, along with the femur from another woman and parts of a human spine. From the cuts made to the victim's bones, the authorities were able to determine that they were cut apart using a saw. All the body parts were taken to the local morgue to complete a more thorough autopsy. 3 days later, a woman by the name of Marceline Luce Cavanagh went to the authorities. She informed them that her mother had went out 3 days prior and had not returned home since. The authorities explained the situation of the two female bodies found. Marceline was escorted to the morgue and was shown the heads of the two victims. Damn, that's kind of an insensitive way to identify a victim. Just show the family a severed head and ask them, is this yours? She identified one as being her mother, Augustine Pennant. When the authorities questioned Marceline about her mother's last whereabouts, she stated that her mother was last seen in the general area of where her murdered body was found. She said that the only reason for her mother being in that neighborhood would be to visit a man she only knew as Louis. No man by the name of Louis resided in that general area, so the authorities went searching for the next closest name, which was Luigi. The authorities went to Luigi's house and did a search of the property. The very first thing that the authorities noticed when they started looking was a bunch of newspapers. They found several stacks of papers missing the same pages that were used to wrap the victims' skulls. When they did a deeper search of the property, the attic floor was covered with human blood, human fat, and also human hair. A suitcase was found in the house that had an extremely foul stench. When it was opened, it was found to be filled with lime and sawdust, the same type of lime and sawdust found on the skulls of the victims. The authorities continued to search the property and found more human remains nearby. The police had several open investigations for missing women. They stemmed over the course of the last 10 years. Each woman was found to have known Luigi and trusted him. It was alleged but not confirmed that he was the last person seen with each one of these women, but it couldn't be proved at that time. A total of 4 women the authorities believe Luigi is responsible for killing. Luigi has been charged for the most 2 recent murders because the evidence found actually linked the bodies to him. He was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. Afterwards, Luigi was transferred. Luigi died there 6 months after he arrived in December of 1901 at the age of 48. If you enjoy more stories such as these, subscribe to the channel. Also click the notifications so you can be reminded of new content I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. God bless and stay safe.